Hello there. In this video, we are going to check out how to do authentication with single page apps like React. In this, we have used NextJS and we have created a simple login component. And in the login component, there is a sign-in button. You click the sign-in button, you will be redirected to the ABP application. You can log in as the admin. You will be redirected to your single page application. You can see the username and you will also get the access token in the client side. With the access token, you can request all the APIs. Let's see how to do this in a simple way. Let's get started. So in the last video, we created a to-do service. This to-do service would create lists and delete or update the to-dos. So basically a basic CRUD operation. What we are going to do now is to create a React app and use the React app to authenticate with the ABP application. To create a React app, you can go to NextJS. NextJS is a React framework. You can go to docs. In docs, you say yarn create next app. Copy that, come to the site. And then use to enter. So this will fetch all the packages and create a React app for you. I will name my app to-dos. Okay. Okay, so if you go and check out the folder structure here, it went inside Next.js to-dos, but I want it directly inside Next.js. So if I copy it back, I will delete this folder. So let's see. Yarn dev. I have a localhost 3000. It should start the application. It's compiling, and then you will see the basic React app. Perfect. We have our React app running. Let's go and the first step is to create a new client for this React app in the identity server. Okay, so let's go to the application. So in your ABP application, you have to first add a new entry in the DB migrator. So the DB migrator has identity server and clients. So these are the clients which are available right now. All you have to do is add a new client to this. I will add a new client. So this is to-do spa1, the client name is, and then there is to-do spa1, that is the client ID and the client secret, and the root URL is localhost 3000, because if you see here, that is the localhost URL for the React by default. So once that is done, clients are seeded while the migration is running. To update that, you have to come here in the domains, and in the identity server, this identity server dataset contrib. This is the file which actually seeds the data for the clients. So you have a create client async. Yeah, this actually goes through and then creates the .NET objects out of this JSON, and then creates the client for you. So we have a console client, we have a Blazor client, and then we have a web client. What we are going to do is add a React client. Okay, so there are a lot of things happening here. So what we are first doing is we are first reading the we are reading the configuration, and then creating a React client here, and then we are checking the client is not null, and then we are trimming the root URL, and then we are calling the create client async function with the React client, and then the scopes required, and we are also adding few callbacks here, and then we are removing the prefix, and then using the root URL as a cross-origin URL. If once this is done, now we have to run the migrations. So to run the migrations, you go here, you open this in the terminal, and in this to do migrations, you first build, perfect. Now .NET run. This will run the migrations for you. Okay, now migrations are done. Let's check. This is where my admin is running. I will go and then check. And the database is to-dos. Okay, what is our database name? To-do. Perfect. We have our to-dos. Let's check the client. Okay, our client is seeded. Let's check the redirect URLs. Our redirect URLs are available. Perfect. So let's come here and start using this React app to start customizing this React app and add authentication to this React app. Come here, and then we can switch to the React app now. Wait, do I have the app running? Yeah, I will close it here. You can see it running here. Perfect. Now if I go, I also want the to-do application running. So we have the Node app running, and then we also have the .NET app running. Let's check that. Perfect. Okay, so our login is working perfectly fine. Now let's start customizing the React app. So in the Next.js, you have an empty Next.js file. So we will replace all these things. We don't need this. Yeah, we don't need this either. Wait, maybe we do need the main. Let's get rid of this and this and the footer as well. Let's put a test and then check how it looks. Okay, we have test. Perfect. Now, this is the home page. We see the home page. Now, let's add a environment variable to this project. The environment variables are loaded when you start the application. I will add the environment variables. So what do we have here? So what we have here is, this is the React app, this is the ABP application, and this is the IdentityServer domain, so without the HTTPS, and then this is the client ID and then the client secret. So we are using node TLS reject is because we are using a localhost HTTPS. The node will complain that it's a self-assigned certificate. To ignore that, I put a node TLS reject. So once this is done, you have to restart your node application so that the variables are loaded into the environment. I will first stop the server and restart it. Now it says loaded environment variables from .env. Perfect. This is what we wanted. Now the next step is to add a package. The package name is next-auth. Add next-auth. So we are going to use this package to implement authentication. So for this package, you have to come to the pages folder, create auth, and now create a auth file, next-auth file. In the next-auth, we will add a provider. So what's going on here? Let's see. So So next-auth has a lot of providers. IdentityServer4 is one of them. So we are actually using the built-in identity server provider. And this is the ID and the name of the provider, and the scopes which we are going to use. If you want to know what are the scopes which are available, you can go to the well-known solutions. You can go to the OpenID URL of identity server. It will list all the scopes available, and then we are loading the domain, client ID, and client secret from the environment, and these are coming from the environment variable we set. And if you come below, here in the session, we are actually taking the access token and putting it in the session. Here in the JWT, when the login happens, we are attaching the access token. This is like adding the access token after the sign-in, and then this will add it to the session. Okay. Now we have to create a login component. So here, no, not there. In the so I will add a components folder. Now I will create the login.js component. In this, I will do a functional component which is named login, and we will use next.js. We will import sign in, sign out, and use session, and then I will modify the return and then add a use session. So what's going on in this component is, so we first imported the sign in and sign out and then use session, and then we are like using the hook called use sessions, and then we are checking if the session is available or not. If the session is not available, we are displaying a not signed in button. In the sign in button, there is a in the sign in button, we are mentioning what we are using to sign in. We are using IdentityServer4. So we actually mentioned this as the ID in the provider. Okay, and if the session is available, we are displaying the session email, and then on click we are actually displaying, we are calling the sign out with the sign out button. Let's see how this looks. Now in the main, I will just render the login component, and now run the application. Perfect, it's running. Let's go and check. Login not found. I think it's not imported. So here, so not signed in. So when you click sign in, cannot use in operator. Okay, interesting. Okay, now, okay. Okay, I see the problem here. I created the auth outside of the API. The auth should be inside the API folder. So the structure should be pages, API, auth, and then the next auth. So go back and refresh and click. Now we have a login page. Perfect. So we have a username available, and you can sign out and then sign in again. Perfect. So if you want to check out the access token, you can come to the login page, and then in the session, while displaying the username, you can also say access token is session dot because in the provider, that is what we are doing. We are attaching. Okay, it's a. So if you come back, yeah, okay, you see the access token, and then maybe put it in the console log. So so you have the console, you have the access token. You log out and you sign in, you have an access token. Perfect. So we have authenticated using the React app. We first created the client in the IdentityServer seed contrib here. Once this is done, okay, it is important, you have to mention that the redirect URL here is mentioned as /authentication/login callback /identityserver. This is important. You have to give this URL as a callback, because the next-auth relies on it. The next-auth, when it tries to initiate the authentication, that will be the URL it will provide as a redirect URL. So make sure you provide that, and then have the cross-origin requests. I think it should just work perfectly. Also check out the next-auth for more details. It's a really good library for authentication in the NextJS applications. It has a pretty decent documentation as well, and it also has a demo of other providers. And you can check out all the options and configurations available here. You can also check out all the information related to this video in a blog post. The blog post link will be available in the description of this video. Please come and check it out. And I have explained everything Again, and also all the code is available. If you come to the bottom, you can also find the GitHub repo link. Just check it out and then comment on it. If things don't work out, I will try to help out if possible. That's pretty much it for this video. Let's meet again in another video. Bye bye.